Hey YouTube, replacement for the live stream. Yeah, so guy Alan at the Bucky Rage has asked me, what's that guitar on the wall behind you? I keep seeing your videos. The one with the white outline on it. That looks really cool. I want one. So I'm going to see what the guitars that are in this room. I'm not going to bother with those two because I've just done videos of them during the week, so you know what they are. That's Graffiticaster 1 and 3. Also used to be the re-rid bass. So this starting in this corner. Oh. The guitar talked about, this is maybe a wee bit dusty. This is an Ibanez Roadstar Deluxe, isn't it? Roadstar, I'm sure it's a Roadstar Deluxe. RG530 BP. BP for Black Pearl. So this, although when I bought it basically I didn't know what it was, I just loved, thought, look at the colour. I have that. Oh, I have that. But if you look at it actually up close, you can see it's, if I get it right, the angle right. There, there. So you can see it's like a plain maple veneer thing. It's kind of green almost, and but the rest of the guitar is, it was described to me as that Japanese white pearl. This colour, which you only seem to get. Japan is the only company that seem to be able to do it. You do get Fenders and stuff that have this colour, but they're the Japanese ones. How you get the pearl finish, I don't know. I've seen copies of it, you know, like Marlin's had it and stuff like that, but it didn't look like this. Yeah, so this is the first year of the Ibanez RG. RG originally stood for Roadster Guitar. Even says on, still got the sticker on the back, says RG530. There's a spider on it. Oh, dear. I need to restring this. I should play this more often. That's kind of why it's out. So we've got like a slightly sleeker Roadster. So 1987, Steve Vai came out with the, you know, the Gem, which was what we now call RG shape. This one, that shape. But in 1986 it looked like this. Also a breakthrough year because this is the first year actually, this is an Ibanez Edge Floyd Rose licensed trem on it. So a rare one, this, in any colour, but in this colour, irreplaceable. So 24 frets, got binding on the top. Just their own Ibanez, I think they're just called IBZ something pickups. Void Rose 2 volumes, 2 tones. I did change the pots in this because I had push pots, but old crappy ones that when you pushed them in you couldn't tell whether they're on or off, so now I've got pulls for coil splits, so it's just easier to use. I did the same with my wee red one as well. But stunning guitars. Yes, you're not going to find them. I don't think this colour, kind of wee bit, is an Antigua, is it Antigua or Antiqua or something like that called Fender. It's not quite, it's not really this colour, but it's kind of sort of that, but there should be more. Why is this colour not a thing? I mean, I just think it looks amazing. Yeah, so guitar number 1 on the wall is the RG530 from Ibanez, which is a pure amazing guitar as well. Not just the fact that it looks like, but I basically bought it because I want to look like. Now I would buy it any other way. You can find them, but they've got to be from 1986 to have the right bridge. If they're from, they did make basically the year before was it was called the RS for Roadstar, and it was basically the same guitar, but it didn't have the an actual Floyd Rose. Yeah, so guitar 2 hanging on the wall is the Malcocaster, which I built out of 2 joists. My idea of thinking was, if I put all the guitar on this piece of wood and then stick this piece on, it means if anything does happen, the whole guitar will still work. It'll just have this bit will have fallen off. I don't know how I joined them. It might just be wood glue. So you can kind of, the join is kind of visible. I even didn't sand off the barcode in the back, so you can see it's just like, that's just the natural rough wood. Very simple things, Telecasters. This is a BC Rich bridge pickup in the neck position. I don't know if I had it. I must have had the Schecter Tele. I drew around it. I didn't draw around it very well. It's kind of off. But I don't know. There's something about Telecaster. Basically, my pal had this neck, which was too orange, and he chipped a bit when he was trying to take the tuners off, and he was just going to throw it away, or I think he sold it to me for a tenner or something like that, and then other stuff. So I bet this was, did I put a date on it? I did. 2010, so there you go. It's like, 13 years ago. I realised, it was the moment I realised you could actually make quite a decent guitar without using really expensive stuff, because the neck was, I can't remember, I think it might have been a vintage brand or something like that, I don't know, it's not an expensive thing, and basically just stuck to a joist, and then it's an actual guitar. I would be taking this to download, but Wayne wants to take his guitar instead. So that one, then next we've got the FGN, my newest guitar. This is 2019 or something like that. Look how dusty it is, my god. There's a 2019 Fuji Gen. They still make these. The headstock's changed. This has got like I quite like it. The more modern ones have got basically the same sort of thing, but it's a bit more stratty, whereas this one's kind of, it is sort of like some sort of Telecaster, but it, don't know, I do like it. I think the newer ones have got a black scratch plate instead of white as well. But so Fuji Gen, built in Fuji Gen factory, same as that Ibanez we're just looking at, apart from done in 2019. These guitars are great. I put those cheap nasty strings on it. It feels terrible. I need to put decent strings on it. You've got the wee contour there, wee bit of a contour there, through strung properly. Not quite the right shape. This is a little bit pointier than a Telecaster, but I like it. Sometimes you get a Telecaster that looks wrong. I don't think this one does. Standard. In fact, that pickup's actually got string wrapped around it. That's it. These are just it's all stock. No fancy wiring. 6-saddle bridge. It does have a compound radius fingerboard, so it doesn't go from where I would like if it went from like the 7 1/4 that you get on like vintage Strats and tellies up to 10 or something here, but it's in millimeters, and I think it goes from something like a 10 or a 12-inch to a 16-inch or something like that. You know, different profile, so it makes it easier to shred up here. Also, it's got circle frets, which are this shape, the way you're looking at it. These are just cheesy things, but I mean, for me, it was just looking at the actual woodwork on this. It's just a step ahead of pretty much any other guitar I've seen that's modern, and I'm including Fenders and Gibsons and stuff. It's like build wise. I mean, look at the routing around that truss rod cover. It's just absolutely immaculate. And the whole guitar is like that. Although I have to say this wasn't actually quite straight. I did have to unscrew that and swing it down. This is a boundary one as well, so the cheapest of the thing. At one point was it last year, the end of 2021, Merchant City had some of these. They had a black one, and at the end of the year they sold it for 400 quid. I think it sold quite quickly, but 400 quid for a Japanese built Telecaster that's as Telecaster as any Telecaster is, and it's built by Fuji Gen, who actually, if you can buy a Japanese built by the same factory Fender Telecaster at the same time for like 1,500 quid. Total guitars of the future, these. Amazing. So that'll be my modern collection. Well, no, sorry, a couple of modern guitars. I tend to think of anything beyond about 2000 as being brand new. This is not beyond 2000. This is the Washburn Falcon. It's an inch thick rosewood top. The spec list on this reads even better than a Harley Benton spec list. Apart from this has been built really, really fucking well. So it's got all the fancy shit on it. You got a 5-piece neck through, which looks like that in the back. It's like this big massive scoop, which is it looks wonderful, but it's really of no use at all when you're playing. It doesn't help you get it higher up the neck in any way. So there's me getting to the last fret there. I mean, the fret access isn't bad. It's a wee bit tight, but it's not bad. But I mean, my hand's not using that big scoop. Purely for look. But that's fine. Brass. Everything. Brass. Switch knob, brass inlays on the fingerboard, which you can't see because they're a bit dull. I need to brasso them up and get them polished. But it's got brass rings inlaid in the fingerboard. Ebony fingerboard. Brass nut. Brass saddles that are clamped the way the G&L bridges, the modern ones do. It's called a harmonic lock. So strings come through it. You set your action height, and then there's Allen bolts on either side which clamp it closed. Solid. And then it's running through the same piece of wood. And then you've got Washburn power sustain pickups, which are basically the same as Ibanez Super 70s. Or DiMarzio Super Distortions, basically. Push-pull pots, which is one of the first guitars to have push-pull pots. This extra switch shouldn't be there. It was a phase switch, I think, when I got it. I need to make it do something. I've got it actually working as a kill switch, which is not ideal. I need to make it try and do something good. Yeah, the detail in these guitars is ridiculous. I mean, I've got it's like the back cover is like a matched piece of wood that came out of there, and the truss rod cover is the same sort of thing. It's like wood. It's ridiculously fancy, and I still think probably the prettiest guitar in the world. Certainly something like that. Doesn't have the prettiest strings in the world. Not the prettiest player, but it's So kind of that's kind of out just because I just love to look at it. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So moving on. I'm going to move these around a bit. I'm going to try and I keep trying to rotate them, but I keep wanting to leave guitars up because I really like playing them. This is my new to me Tempest Strat, which is a 70s Strat. It's only got a 3-way switch, but it's all original and in amazing condition. It's got a few wee dinks on it, but no play wear. Unfortunately, it's not a one-piece neck. But I'm pretty sure this is a Fuji Gen built 70s or a 1970 copy. Or 71, whatever one's got the big headstock. It's still got the 4-bolt neck on it though. The pickups are like Nico ones. You know, they don't have the magnets on them, and they're stock. You know, big pots. So this is, and the block is the same as a Washburn A20. So it's like the actual base. The block on the back, you know, the bit, you want a big block on the back, that's actually part of the bridge, but it's a big heavy bastard. This guitar, I don't know what to do with. It's got a brass nut and it's got a bullet truss rod, it's got everything on it. The tuners aren't the best type, but it just seems to play so well, and I'm really enjoying having the white. I wonder if should I be using that on that, actually. Strat, to be honest, the Strat probably cost more than the... So a Jimi Hendrix strap, which I just happened to put on this, but this is obviously the guitar that Jimi Hendrix played at Woodstock type, the same colour, and it's got a big headstock. But I mean, it's such an accurate copy. I have not actually seen an Ibanez branded one, but I've seen other ones that look very, very similar. Not the only ones I've seen that are exactly the same are by CMI and somebody else. You know what these. Tempest apparently is an Australian company that imported things. How it ended up in Scotland, I don't know, but it's basically just one of those before the era of Squire shops would actually just contact the Japanese factories and buy, give me 50 Strats. What name do you want put in the headstock? Same as basically that's what Ibanez did, but they didn't buy 50. So yes, thoroughly enjoying this. It was very cheap. I don't really want to do anything to modify it. I've not even changed the switch. You can get positions 2 and 4 if you kind of wedge the switch, but I kind of liked it because it's making me use the middle position more because I've only got 3, so I kind of tend to use 2 and 4 all the time in a Strat, whereas this one doesn't have those. So yes, wonderful thing. I do really like that. Oh. Next, I can't remember why this is out, just because I was putting it along with the bass. This is the 1983 Washburn Force 2. As I always have to mention, I wish this was the Force 1 because I've got a Force 2 with the 2 humbuckers, and this is a Force 2 with 1 humbucker, and there's a Force 3 that's got 3 Strat pickups, and a Force 4 as a bass. Why is this not a Force 1? It's really annoying. But yeah, so it's kind of a Strat, I suppose. This is I think this one's made by Tushin or possibly still by Yamaki. It's got a slightly, what you would call a V-neck, but not if you're a Washburn fan. The V-neck by Washburn's like a Toblerone. It's like a proper triangle. This is slightly V, like what you would get in a Fender or something. It's like, oh, I've got a V-neck. Also you do. Not, but you get a Washburn, you go, fucking hell, it's a triangle. Yeah, so it's basically a Strat, I suppose. The outside from here to here is the same on a Strat, the same as the 2 points on a Strat. It's just that it doesn't have a heel. So you see where a Strat would normally go here, go whoop, and then have a heel here, and then do that. This one doesn't. This one's just, so you can see where the neck joins, the neck bolts in here, so the neck kind of joins here somewhere. So the 2 pickup one, it's actually below the pickup, which gives you a higher, better reach, I suppose. Very, very sleek, kind of like a neck through feel. But this has also got, I don't know if you can really see it, the same as my pal Scott's got a very expensive Fender telly. You can sort of see the grain through the white. It's got that, but this camera's not going to show that up. You can sort of see, there you go, you can see the grain going through it. You've kind of got to get the angle right. It's more noticeable in person. Also got the harmonic lock bridge. Well, not, I don't know what it's actually called. The trem version of what's in the Falcon. So you get brass saddles, 2-point, big massive block on the back of it. Volume control, not DiMarzio Super Distortion, Washburn Power Sustain, so the same pickup as the Falcon. These guitars are still available, not that expensive for what they are. They're fantastic. Kind of looks a wee bit like a Fender Lead, I think. Not quite, but sort of going in that direction. It doesn't have this contour, so it's got a slight Telecaster-y vibe going on about it, just because it's kind of, it's a sort of Tele. So it's got a bit of Strato Tele modernity in it. But awesome guitar, brilliant. So either Yamaha or Tushin 1983. You can tell I like my Japanese guitars. I don't know why this is out. The Blazer, I think it was just because I had some brightly coloured guitars. Blazer BL, I think it's a 450, or is that BL 500? 550 is the most expensive one, the one that Yoakum's got, which is the same guitar as this, apart from it's got a body coloured headstock and super tappable pickups. Super tap 6. These are just super 6. So that was the one I really wanted. This is the one lower than it. I think the 500. So it's a 550. I think the 500 is the same as that, but it's a hardtail. I think this is a 450. So it's just that it has a natural coloured top, and it came in wood colours. This one had been badly painted, so I badly painted it myself on top of that. It kind of doesn't work when you compare it to, actual artworks rather than being me being an idiot. But the guitar itself is lovely, better than a Strat. So you've got an entirely brass saddles, brass block, brass saddles, brass everything. So it's all brass. It should have brass knobs, but don't have them on it. Got the bullet truss rod, which I really like. The Gotoh Smooth Tune tuners in gold. One piece neck. A belter of a neck, as good as any Fender neck. This one. These were made by Dyna, apparently. So this is a 1981. It says on the back, but the actual model didn't come out till 1982. So it's a 1982 model guitar made in. It says L. So would that be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. December, maybe. So it might be December 81. So it's the last of the. They're making up the new catalogue in December, and that's what this one came from. Yeah, no, these guitars are unbelievable. They only made them for a couple of years, the Blazers, and then they became the Roadsters, and then they moved on a little bit. But this one just has. The only thing it's missing is the fact it doesn't have the tapped pickups, because these pickups are mega powerful. They're in the catalogue for it. It's like the Super 6s are the most powerful single coil pickup you can buy anywhere. And it doesn't say even DiMarzio's. It says even on the big aftermarket brands don't do a pickup as powerful as this. Which honestly, when you're playing Judas Priest in the studio, they're fucking great, but it just doesn't do that low output Strat thing. The one with this coil split on it does do that. So ideally, if anyone wants to swap for some way, I was totally hoping that the extra tab was going to be on them, but they just don't have that. But it's either they've got big pull pieces on them and stuff like that. They're your definitive hot pickups. I just feel I like the really low output ones, because you can get that real jangle, and also I don't use that much gain. But I mean, you can't go far wrong. If you want a Strat, buy a Blazer. If you can get like one of this era, especially because this is like, okay, it's not the exact top of the range, it's the second top of the range, and it's, yeah, you're not really going to go very wrong with that. So I've actually done all the, there you go, there's all the guitars in the back wall. I suppose I'll do the other wall as well. See, there's two guitars that I can hang up there. First one is another Japanese one. Big surprise. This is my Casio. So again, built by FGN, Fuji Gen, Japan 1986, or 1987, I can't remember. There is a serial number, T0046, I don't really know what that means. But they only made them for a couple of years. This is the same guitar that JJ Cale plays, and this is very dusty as well. So what you've got is basically a Japanese Fender Strat, but it's got a Roland pickup in it there, and a wee control panel here for MIDI. So the actual guitar, and it's got a guitar output, as well as a MIDI output. You can see in the back there's things. This is battery. Oh, that's right, it runs in batteries. The batteries must last for ages. I don't think I've changed the batteries in this ever. Anyway, yeah, so batteries, and you've got bits in here. These are like, if you go into here, there's dip switches to change the MIDI parameters. But full on, I bought it as a not working one, as a full on HSS 1986 Japanese Strat, which is exactly what it is. So everything is of quality, and even if the MIDI thing didn't work, which it didn't work when I got it, it's still an awesome rocking guitar. It does have a very, very flat radius though. It's like a vintage Strat 7.25 inch. The modern ones are like 9.5, 10, or like a Gibson's 12. This is something like 22. It's like my range. This is the highest thing on my gauges, so it's a really, really flat fingerboard. I'm assuming it makes it more accurate for doing the MIDI thing. There was thought of putting the Fender neck on it, because these guitars are not as expensive as they should be. Because if it was a 1986 Fender Japan, basically this exact guitar, apart from with a Fender headstock, it's it's £1,000 guitar, and it's like, I don't even know if these get that. And this has got like a full shebang MIDI thing in it, not like the modern stuff where you've got like you've got a MIDI pickup, and then it runs a crazy 10-pin plug thing that goes into your floor pedal, which is all the brains in it. This one has all the brains in the guitar, so basically that's just a 5-pin MIDI lead that you can take that MIDI lead and stick it into anything that's got a MIDI in. So you just stick it into an old synth, bang, and then suddenly you can control the synth. Or you stick it into a drum kit, which obviously I did because I had one, and you can play the drums, and it's like it just goes into anything. So you just end up with a MIDI lead walking about looking for things to plug it into. I've been using this wee, if I could just do this wee crappy General MIDI sound bank. My plan was, I was thinking I could just like sort of velcro it to the front of the guitar, and that would give me an entire General MIDI bank that you can just run into the amp, and then you can play all sorts of synthy stuff. Strings and stuff work really well on it. That wee MIDI thing does sound a bit shit though. It's like the bad side of MIDI, but I mean, obviously you can just plug it into some good. I used to have a Korg. It wasn't an M1, it was a later on cheaper one made in Italy. It was a Korg IS40 or IS50 it was called. Big massive plastic thing, looked like a wheelie bin. But the sounds on it were amazing. It had saxophone that was just such a realistic saxophone sound, and then you could play it in the guitar. For some reason saxophone just worked well. Worked really well. Really like that. Yeah, so Casio MIDI guitar. I don't use it enough. I should. It just plugs into, as I said. It's not like, and because it's not the usual Roland one, there's the sounds that the actual Roland floor unit you get to plug, this is essentially the same pickup into. It does have to, it's got to send an unpowered signal from the MIDI pickup down that cable into the thingy, so that takes time. So the latency, the distance, the time between you trigger the note and it sounds is longer than that, because that basically just converts it to MIDI inside the actual guitar, and then what it's sending out is a MIDI signal, not the signal from the pickup. The actual, it's a full blown line level MIDI signal, which you can send a lot. It travels faster, basically. Yeah. Next on the hanging up wall is Ibanez Paul Gilbert PGM 30 from 2003, is it, something like that? 2002, again built by Fuji Gen in Japan. I got this just this at Christmas. I've still not fixed it. The bridge posts the seats have gone. I bought epoxy to fix it, and I just haven't yet got round to it. I'm kind of scared of this guitar because it's a real Formula One machine. They didn't make this for that long. Also, didn't it look a wee bit like a cock and balls, that bit there? Yeah. So basically, it's an Ibanez RG 550 or whatever you call it. But it's got painted on F holes, and the knobs have moved, so they're kind of within the F holes. Floyd Rose. I got this. I actually bought an extra set of pickups with this. Again, I didn't want very much for the extra set of pickups. I did a deal with them. DiMarzio Steve Vai Evo pickups. So I've got like an HSH set. HSH. And I was like, yeah, I'll get those pickups, put them in. They're white, not black. And I was looking at it going, that's a DiMarzio PF as well. That's a DiMarzio stack pickup, and that's an Ibanez V7. So probably technically not as expensive as the Evo set. It's already got DiMarzio's in it, or DiMarzio's in the Ibanez V7 Prestige pickup. Reverse headstock, slightly bigger neck than normal RGs. Still quite thin though, but still the same. It's got 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 the same. shape as a wizard neck, but 2mm thicker. They only made this guitar with this neck for a year or two, and then this model was a funny one because they started off making them in Korea, so everyone goes, oh, the PGM 30, that's the Korean one, and it's like they did make, I think it was a year they made them in Korea, and then they were Japan. It doesn't say Prestige on it, but in the catalogue it's got Prestige, like the logo on in the description, so it is an Ibanez Prestige. I need to do more. I need to sort it, put strings on it. The frets are a wee bit worn, but the frets are a wee bit worn by someone who played Paul Gilbert, so they're kind of worn like this, as opposed to being, you know, down here where the cowboy cards are. It's kind of more. Well, they're very evenly worn, so I just need to recrown them a little bit. It's got massive frets anyway, plenty of room. The difference between this and the PGM 300, which is the one Paul Gilbert actually played, is it came with DiMarzio pickups, which this one now has, but it didn't. When it was new, it didn't come with them. It's got a maple fingerboard, not a rosewood. It doesn't have pickup rings. This one's got pickup rings, and it's got a more expensive Floyd Rose. This has got the Floyd Rose, a low TRS Trem 2. The one, the full on 300 series one had a different Floyd Rose, but it's still an Ibanez Floyd Rose. I've not had any problems with it. I quite like it. It's quite compact. It's a slightly more basic one. Let's get the barrel jack socket, which I don't like, but so does that one in the corner. Yeah, so I've basically made in the same factory. It's the same factory. It was probably that one, definitely that one, and definitely that one. Yeah, and definitely the black one I just showed you. So there we go. That's the PGM 30, which are quite rare. There's no videos of them online actually. Oh, there's one of like a guy, you know, the usual 20 seconds, no introduction, very early YouTube video, but there's none because I've not fixed it. Then once I do it, I'll do a proper video and I might get a lot of hits for it. Yes, what else are we talking about now? We've still got some guitars on the floor down here. Only another another 5. I'll be quick about it. This is talking about this is the Shocking Bird, which is I made myself after building that one and joining 2 bits of wood together. This time actually that's a much better join, isn't it? You can't hardly not see it at all. I used these 2 bits of wood just potentially to make a face. Yeah, that's the tongue and the nose and the eyeballs. Kind of looks like the wee face at a Ice Age, something like that. It's got knots in it and stuff. Single P90 fresher neck, Japanese neck that's been, I've got out my pal's bin. Skull tuners that are half black and half gold, so I use black tuners but gold washers and gold skulls. Oh, that looked pretty cool. And it's got my own string butler design there. You can see the D and the G string go round like ball ends of bass strings with a screw through the middle just to get a better action there, because it was getting stuck in the nut. But this guitar is absolutely awesome. It makes me play differently than everything else I've got. For some reason, maybe it's because I made it, maybe it's because it's really cheap. It's really light, it's really resonant, it's spiky, it's really offensive. Even just unplugged, it's just wonderful. Again, I've got a gold dog eared P90 that would sit in the neck of this lovely, but there's something about just having the one volume and the tone. It's just the one volume and the no tone and the air vent. I love this thing. The Shocking Bird. It's half Mockingbird. Rattling through now. These are just recents. This is a Yoshi, another Japanese one. Not really sure who made this. Bridge very similar to the Washburn. Not the that's the Falcon one there. This is the one that's on the Raven. Basically, I think it's basically made the same place as the Washburn Raven. Kind of looks similar. In fact, it's looking at it. It's a Washburn Raven, but a slightly different shape. Now that I look at it, yeah. So you've got the Gotoh DiMarzio type pickups. Proper Gotoh tuners. 3-piece laminate neck, bolt on, made in Japan, through strung like a telly. Coil split switch, so you get single coils, 2 volumes, and a tone, 3-way. It's a wonderful guitar. Talk about versatile. It's the lot really in it. It's your. I want to do some Strat stuff and some Fendery stuff and some Gibson stuff. Bang. Only got one guitar. I got more than one guitar. That does it. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into the. I can't. This thing. This is it. the Ibanez Roadster RG 140. So like the cheapest of the RG line. This is an 86 again, hence it's an RG, where it would be an RS if it was from 85, and if it was maybe 87, they started making it in Korea and using the same headstock that was on Paul Gilbert there, but the right way around, not the samurai or whatever, you know, it's shaped like a Japanese weapon. It's like a blade thing. Yeah, so this very similar to the it is to the Alan Holdsworth Ibanez what an RG550 is to the Steve Vai Gem, where basically Alan Holdsworth designed a guitar, specified basswood, one of the first guitars ever to be specified basswood. It has, and then so he had his guitar, a couple of £1,000, custom made job. Right, we're going to make a slightly cheaper version. So basically, it's the same guitar, apart from it doesn't have his own special pickup in it. The bridge is the same design, but it's not made of aircraft grade aluminium. And I think it's got an ebony fingerboard. Apart from that, it looks the same. Also got I quite like the way it's got sort of, the Alan Holdsworth one's just got like a single bucker in it. This one does have single coils, but they're kind of hidden. They're like stealth single coils in there, so you can see, if you get the angle right, you can't see that there's neck pickups. These are really low outputs. Some of my favourite pickups ever. They're like 4K when you measure them, and it's when you play, they're just so jangly and amazing. And then the bridge is a Ibanez Super 70, and it's got a coil split as well for it. 5-way lever. Very basic guitar, but just one of the best guitars ever made. This is the cheap version of it, obviously, of the white one I was talking about there. That's the deluxe. This is the entry level, but everything on it just works really well. This bridge is a stunner. It's probably my favourite. It's the most stable, not locking, as in not a Floyd Rose bridge I've ever used. This is like a kind of blade thing that sits in below. This metal bit here's attached, and it kind of slides under it. But it just has... it doesn't quite have the travel of a Floyd Rose, but it totally feels like one and performs like one, and it doesn't even lock here. It doesn't seem to go out of tune. Obviously it's not been touched for months, so yes, it will be going out of tune just now, but with new strings on it, it's amazing. This is the one I was gigging in Kraken House. It's just so easy to play. Just the best guitars you can get. A86. Well, if the A's, it's maybe January 86 then. It's just, as a design piece, I mean, I know the Steve Vai one obviously changed the world with the Gem. At 24, it's kind of going that way. You can see how this became the RG, which they still make. I think they've tried to reissue it a couple of times, but it's a slightly sleeker shape. It's not quite so stratty anymore. When we're just into guitars that are sitting, these are so far out of reach, you can't really reach them. This is actually a possibility for a paint job, for one of these paint jobs, which you can't see because it's dark. But, yes, this is a Fernandez limited edition Electric Sound Research Group. Yeah, this is a bass. I only bought it last year. So it's like a full size P bass body. It's 32-inch scale, but the big thing is the neck's a guitar neck. It's the strings are closer together, and it's the same. Okay, it's longer, but it feels like a guitar neck, which is really bizarre. So it's like a super bass. You know, you get your Super Strat. It's that kind of idea. So it's got like a thin neck, pointy headstock. It's got the PJ configuration, brass saddles because they had to make it because the strings are closer together. It's a fantastic thing. It's just this colour. You don't really get it there. It's a horrible colour. It obviously used to be white of some description, but it's gone beige or something. Even so, even there's a Phil Collins song that was on MTV when I was over at Scott's when I was looking at this, and the song Easy Lover, he's wearing a suit exactly this colour. This was obviously a sticker. This is closer to the colour it should have been. So I think what's happened is it's reacted. It's been in a gig bag made of rubber or something, and it's like a chemical reaction, because normally you wouldn't expect it to go darker, you'd expect it to get lighter. Yes, is it a serial number? It does. That's right, this is made by Matsumoku actually, so one of the last Matsumoku guitars. It's very 1986 looking though, isn't it? But imagine this with the fancy artwork on it. It's going to make it £1,000 bass in it. Also the fact it's really small, so I mean it would be really, really appealing to people with small hands or the ladies. But stunning. I basically bought it because I wanted a Fernandez. I'd never had a Fernandez before. Yes. So I think that might be getting. Oh, it's also the black heart. Yeah. And then there's only one more. And yeah, this is the one that actually goes behind the cable. It goes to the telly. So I might actually just have to. You'll probably see clouds of dust come off this bastard, and it's been there for quite some time. Yeah. So again, I'm going for the big name makes. There's a Tokai Super Series, which I keep. Just the frets are just slightly too low. Needs a refret. But it may just look like a normal Strat, but this is a really bizarre one. The fingerboard is rosewood. That's the only bit of wood in it. The neck is carbon fibre. The body is some other thing like carbon fibre. It's got like a mad dovetail neck, so you can't use the neck on another guitar. It's like it's like a T-bar shaped section, like with stuff to bolt it on. You can see there, see that way bit there. It's like it's got like a plastic cover that clips in, which I don't have, to cover up the back bit. But it's still got the standard Japanese bridge and the Japanese pickups. It's HSH. I put coil splits in and have since taken them out, so I've now got a coil split for this HSH. Feel wise, it just feels exactly like a normal Strat. It's annoying that the frets are just too low. It's maybe not even that bad when these strings are rolled on it, but so I've never actually been able to find this exact guitar. Again, looking it up, you can get one. They had a series called the Matte series, which is the most advanced technologies, and there's a few of them that look very like this, but not exactly like this. You get ones that have got like the same body, but they've got a wooden neck, and there's ones that have got the same neck but don't have, and then you get ones that have got like that there, which I was expecting to house something interesting. It's just a blank plate. There's the output jack there, so there's nothing in there. A good place for a battery. It's not active. Maybe that's part of the rest of the Mac series. So there you go. So there's my substitute for a live stream. Seeing as I'm away, just looking at the guitars that are in the room, and I'll try and move them round so they're slightly different ones. Got plenty. I mean, again, it's like making offers on these things. Some of them are not going. Some of them I'll never get rid of, but you never know. I've got too many, especially when you some in the corner. What's this in the corner? I forgot about that one. I forgot about fucking 80s Tokai. Aye. There's plastic. It's like that. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to forget about it. That should be the pride of your collection. That's the thing that happens with a lot. Maybe it's just for me, but a lot of these guitars, just because. See, if I went into something like a normal person's guitar collection, they've got 10 guitars. If they had any one of these, that'd be the interesting one. It's like, I've got this Epiphone Les Paul. Okay, Square Strat, like that. A Fernandez, just out of, I'm not talking against quality and like that, but just talking about how exciting I find these things. It's like something like that. I mean, this is why I bought them, though. Obviously, something like that. You can have your Gibsons and your Fenders sitting there, and you've got this in the corner. I'm like, whoa, what's that? It's much more interesting to me. But hence why I don't have 300,000 subscribers. I've got 3,000 because not everyone agrees that this is better than a Fender Strat. It is. If you played one, you would know such things, but those people on the internet don't tell you that. Oops. I'll just smash it off the mic stand. That was probably quite noisy. That's the last one. Oh, the Shocking Bird. Yeah, put them all back. So I'm now going to have a wee jam with the graffiti casters to try and make up enough videos for this week. Rock on, like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed that Sunday. I'll be back Sunday night, live streaming next week. I've got an intense bucky drinking session starting tomorrow. Oh god, it's only tomorrow. Don't know. And cheers to Jen for the Lynyrd Skynyrd t-shirt, which the guy was going to throw out next door. So I've thrown that off that.